Recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the gentleman from Virginia for yielding me the customary 30 minutes, and I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Recognized.
Mr. Speaker, there's an awful lot of stuff in this rule before us, but let's be clear about one thing that's happening with this rule today, and that is Republican leadership is trying to overturn the democratic process of majority rule. 218 members of this House, a majority of us, signed a petition from Congresswoman Luna, who's a Republican, allowing new moms and dads to vote remotely in Congress. And when 218 of us sign a petition, the House rules say it can be brought up for a vote. But a backdoor provision slipped into this rule is being used to shut down that process, an unprecedented step. Literally, it has never been done before in the history of the House. Never. So if you sign Representative Luna's discharge petition, if you agree it deserves a vote, if you agree that a majority of the House should have the ability to bring up legislation through the discharge process, then you have to vote no on this rule. It is that simple. Let's go back to the drawing board, drop this provision. And by the way, this isn't remote voting for everyone. It's very simply about giving new parents the option to vote remotely if they so choose. That's it. That's what the Republican leadership is killing. And when we get to the actual bills Republicans are advancing here, Mr. Speaker, who wrote these Republican bills? A Wall Street lobbyist? One of them is literally about letting big banks raise their fees. Who the hell asked for that? The CEO of Goldman Sachs? People are getting screwed by big banks, by Bank of America, by Morgan Stanley, by Wells Fargo. This is about whose side you're on. Republicans, at least these guys are upfront about it, they want to help Wall Street. Democrats fought to make sure overdraft fees are capped at $5. And these guys come down here with a straight face telling America what? That letting banks raise fees is a good thing. Republican math is that higher fees are good for you. Really? That somehow we all should want to pay more fees to big banks? Is this a joke? Is this a bad joke? This next measure that they have in this rule lets big tech off the hook when people get ripped off. Did Elon Musk write this one? These guys are coming down here with a straight face and telling us that big tech needs less regulation, that they need less oversight. Is this an April Fool's Day joke? Here's the contrast. Democrats, we actually fought to make sure big tech is held accountable when things go wrong on Apple Pay, Cash App, or Zelle, when people are hacked, scammed, or defrauded. And what do Republicans want to do? They want to let big tech off the hook. You lose money? Too bad. Your data gets sold? Too bad. Whose side are Republicans on? I'll tell you this, not yours. Maybe for April Fool's Day, they could really change things up and actually stand up for working people. There's a crazy idea. But we have another bill to block nationwide injunctions when the government breaks the law. Here's a better idea. Why don't Republicans call up Donald Trump and tell him to stop breaking the law? What an idea. And of course, it's a day that ends in Y, so Republicans are bringing to the floor a bill to take away people's voting rights. Get this, if you're a woman who changed her name after marriage, you will now need a certified birth certificate. But if your name is different than on that birth certificate, you're going to have to come up with a whole bunch more documentation. Some of it will be costly. Only Republicans would think, voter disenfranchisement is somehow a good idea. But this is all about making it more difficult for American citizens to vote. That's the real fraud. Donald Trump actually had a commission on voter fraud, and he disbanded it because he couldn't find any. Republicans are defrauding American voters by making it more difficult to register. This stuff is right out of the authoritarian playbook, straight from China, Russia, or Iran. Republicans are acting like they are above the law, putting the rich and powerful first, undermining an independent judiciary, undermining the right to vote. This is the road to authoritarianism, Mr. Speaker. Republicans are putting us in the fast lane to a dictatorship. And you can be damn sure that I'm not going to be silent, and people on this side are not going to be silent. I'm going to fight against these bills. I'm going to fight to protect and uphold our democracy. And I urge my colleagues here, both Democrats and Republicans, to vote no. To vote no on this rule. And with that, I reserve my time.
Gentlemen.